sons of earth, born to give them second birth. Veiled in flesh, the Godhead see, healed incarnate deity, praises man with men to dwell. Jesus our Emmanuel, praises man with men to dwell. Jesus our Emmanuel. Hear the heavenborn Prince of Peace, hear the Son of Righteousness, light and life to all He brings, wreathed with healing in His wings. Christ the highest have adored, Christ the everlasting Lord. Come, Desire of nations, come, fixing us thy humble home. Hark, the herald angels sing, glory to the newborn King.
You call me out upon the waters, the great unknown, with feet may fail, and that I find in the mystery, in oceans deep, my faith will stand, and I will call upon your name, and dip my eyes above the waves. In the oceans rise, my soul will rest in your praise, for I am yours. You are mine. Oh, oh, oh. Your grace abound in deepest waters. Your sovereign hand will be my guide. My faith, it feels surrounds me. You never fail. It won't start now. So I will call upon your name, and dip my eyes above the waves. With oceans rise, my soul will rest in your place, for I am yours. You are mine. You are Spirit, lead me where my trust without the borders. Let me walk upon the waters, wherever world you call me. Take me deeper than my feet, take out with wonder. Let me faith will be me stronger. The presence of my Savior. Spirit, lead
ago, my daughter wanted an electric scooter for her birthday. So I began the arduous search online for the very best deal on electric scooters. And I came across this app called Wish. If you don't know what Wish is, it's an app whereby you can buy all kinds of things at a deep, deep discount. The problem is the deals have a timer attached to them, so you have to purchase a thing within a matter of minutes or you don't get the lowest price. Anyway, I found an electric scooter for sale on Wish that was only $19. And in my gut, I was thinking, this has to be too good to be true. But I hurried through all of the pictures and I read the item's description very quickly. It really was an electric scooter and it was only $19. I didn't quite understand how it was powered by 2 AAA batteries, but my goodness, the scooter that my daughter wanted was almost $200, and this was too good of a deal to pass up. So I ordered the scooter before the clock ran out, very proud of myself for finding such a good deal. 3 weeks later, a package arrived in the mail for me. It was a very small package, and I didn't know what it was because I hadn't ordered anything else. But it certainly wasn't the scooter that I'd ordered because that would be in a much larger package. So I walked back to my office and I opened the package, and there it was before me. The $19 electric scooter. It measured in at 5 inches by 2 inches by 7 inches. Just the perfect size for a Barbie doll to ride on. What happened? I got in a hurry and I saw what I wanted to see. It was an electric scooter, yes, and powered by 2 AAA batteries, yes. It was just about 300% smaller than the one I thought I had purchased. I should have listened to my gut in that moment back when I was ordering. It knew from the very beginning what was really going on, but I got dazzled by the lights. In the end, instead of spending $200 on the scooter, I ended up spending $219. Why? Because the Barbie scooter was non-refundable. They got me. I lost, they won, 'twas ever thus. Our passage for today is a passage about justice. Our passage reveals to us the contrast between the justice of God and the justice of mere mortals. Beginning in the second half of verse 3, we see it laid out. It says this: "He will not judge by what he sees with his eyes, or decide by what he hears with his ears. But with righteousness he will judge the needy. With justice he will give decisions for the poor of the earth." According to this passage, there are only 2 ways that justice is doled out in our world. Number 1, by making decisions based on what we see with our eyes and we hear with our ears. And number 2, by making decisions based on what is right. That is, after all, what the word righteousness really means: to do the right thing, to do what is right. But this is by no means an easy way to navigate the topic of justice. In fact, if you're wired like me, it leaves me with even more questions. For instance, if God always does what is right, then why is there such an overabundance of pain and suffering and chaos in our world? Well, I think it's because, as it pertains with our relationships to and with other people, God leaves those decisions up to us. God has delegated the condition of this world and its people to us. And we don't always do what is right. We often get in a hurry. We get duped by outer appearances rather than inner realities. And sometimes we make the wrong decision, and it ends up being unjust. And when we do, there is pain. There is inequity, inequality, oppression, empire, and all of the other ugly things that come along with injustice. So there are two ways set before us: to judge by what we see with our eyes and hear with our ears, or to judge by what is right. Which one will we choose? When someone is annoying us or distressing us or being unkind to us, will we only decide by what we see with our eyes and hear with our ears? Or will we look in further behind the mask, so to speak? You know, when I was a much younger man coming up in ministry, I had a mentor who was doing his best to help me be a less synaptic, less reactive leader. And the one thing he asked me to practice when dealing with difficult people was to ask a specific question in the moment where I felt myself getting impatient or frustrated. I wasn't to ask the question out loud, of course, that would be antagonistic, but only in my own mind when confronted with a difficult person. The question he told me to ask was, who or what hurt this person I'm talking to right now? Who or what hurt this person? And this is a really great trick to keep in the bag of tricks that we carry around us when dealing with difficult people. If you do this, it will help you in ways that almost seem like magic. And so I started practicing what he told me to do. And it forever changed the way that I interacted with difficult people. I remember one such person in my 20s in the first church I served at. He was one of those people that was just so needy all the time that it was physically exhausting to me. There was always some minor happening in his life that he had elevated to the status of cataclysm, that needed my immediate pastoral attention or the world was going to be knocked off its axis. And I would get so angry about it. This was long before the days of texting and email, so he would call me 3, 4, sometimes 5 times a day. And I would have to stop whatever I was doing and set it aside and deal with the newest strain of drama in his life. But I learned in that experience, thanks to my mentor, how to handle it in a more just, more right way. When he would call me with some emergency, I would start asking that question that my mentor told me to ask. Again, not out loud, but in my own mind. Who or what hurt this person? And this question helped me locate a spot within myself from which I could actually be a person of empathy. A place where I could spend my energy and my time and my efforts trying to be a better listener and trying to understand more, rather than just getting him off my call sheet as quickly as possible. And when I started to approach that distressing situation from this vantage point, from seeking to understand him, his life, his past, and his hurt, my questions about those things evoked information that was actually helpful and actually something I cared very deeply about in this man. Come to find out, approaching it from this angle, this man, for his entire childhood, had a father who was absent. He never even met his father. And he was raised by a single mother who had an ongoing drinking problem. She was not violent with him. She was not unkind to him. But she just wasn't around all that much. He would go for days in his life without ever seeing her, having to figure out things like meals and schedules and bills and schoolwork, all on his own as a young man. And that was the information that I needed to see it as I should. And when I saw it, when I understood that this was the world that he came up in, that space in me that was filled with impatience and frustration and anger was all of a sudden filled up with mercy instead. Why? Because I saw the real thing. I saw what was right, what was righteous. I saw the thing behind the thing. On the surface, though, all that my eyes saw and all that my ears heard was a selfish, needy, narcissistic, inconsiderate person who wanted all of my attention at the expense of my sanity. But that wasn't why he wanted my attention. He wanted my attention because that was the only way he knew how to tend to his wounds that were deep, that had been put there long ago by someone else. And I learned so much about how to be a better pastor to people in this experience with this man. That experience was not only a gift to him, but also a gift to me. And it's still a gift that I keep in my bag of tricks today. I am so grateful for good mentors who teach us how to see beyond the veil of the world to the things that really matter. And friends, this is the kind of justice that God wants every decision maker to put into practice in this world. Yes, justice has to do with policy in government circles. It has to do with laws, has to do with opportunities that people have and giving them better opportunities. But ultimately, laws and policies are reflections of the people that make them. Justice must begin one-to-one in this world. Will we handle justice the way that God does? He will judge not by what he sees with his eyes or decide by what he hears with his ears, but with righteousness he will judge the needy. With justice he will give decisions for the poor of the earth. So it's wonderful to hear that. Now, will we go out and do it? Will we be it? It is up to us, the condition of our world. And our world needs justice like this now more than ever. As we move into a time of stillness and reflection now, I want to invite you to think about all of these things, particularly how they pertain to your interpersonal relationships. Might be a relationship at work with a family member, someone you're dating, someone you're married to, someone you live with. But think about how we might begin to practice this kind of justice in our lives as individuals. A justice that is based on understanding and seeing what's really going on, rather than just reacting to the surface all the time. If you would like to receive the Eucharist at this time along with us, you can gather the elements from wherever you're watching. But let's take a few moments and reflect on the justice of God and how we live out that justice in our world. Amen.
morning. Welcome to CIB Just for Kids. My name is Lauren. Today I have a story and an activity for you. Before we get started, I'd like to share a mindful moment with you. I'm going to use my lovely singing bowl, and this is a good time for you to find a place to sit, hopefully somewhere quiet and peaceful. We're going to take 3 mindful breaths. You can take more or less if you prefer, of course. I just threw out the number 3. Make sure that your head is over your heart and your heart is over your hips. That way your spine is aligned and you're ready to breathe in and breathe out. So without further ado, okay. I hope that you feel a little more grounded, a little more complete in your heart center. And now I'd like to share this story with you. This one's called Maybe God is Like That Too. I live in the city, where the sidewalks and subway cars and buildings and buses are packed with people. But I've never seen God before. Grandma, does God live in the city? I ask one morning at breakfast. Yes, God is here, she says. You just need to know where to look. Whenever you see love, joy, and peace, God is there, she says, stirring her tea. Wherever there's patience, kindness, and goodness, and self-control, that's God's Spirit at work. On the way to school, I'm on the lookout. I see a bus full of tourists and count 10 bright yellow taxis. I spy a man sweeping a stoop, and Grandma and I laugh when I see a tiny dog wearing a fluffy purple sweater. There's the dog. At school, Grandma hands me my lunch and hugs me close before she says goodbye. That's what love looks like to me. Maybe God is like that too. On the swings, I pump so hard I see over the wall into the alley. My friends shout, "Higher, higher," as my feet fly way up into the sky. That's what joy looks like to me. Maybe God is like that too. Outside, car horns blast and sirens scream, but my classroom is quiet and calm. That's what peace looks like to me. Maybe God is like that too. I try to tie my shoes, but the laces tangle around my fingers. My teacher sits down beside me and shows me how to tie them. That's what patience looks like to me. Maybe God is like that too. On the way home, I see a doorman wearing a red cape and a hat with a shiny brim. He's holding the door for a man using a wheelchair. The man moves very slowly, and the doorman chats with him and smiles. That's what kindness looks like to me. Maybe God is like that too. While I'm setting the table for dinner, there's a knock at the door. It's our neighbor from downstairs, bringing us a loaf of bread. It's golden brown and warm and wrapped in a thin white towel. That's what goodness looks like to me. Maybe God is like that too. After dinner, I work on my homework while Grandma stands at the kitchen sink, washing dishes and humming to herself, just like she does every single night. That's what faithfulness looks like to me. Maybe God is like that too. At bedtime, Grandma sits at the edge of my bed, singing me a lullaby and stroking my head. She tucks my blankets up close around me. That's what gentleness looks like to me. Maybe God is like that too. I lie in bed watching the curtains flutter. I want to talk about that dog we saw today and how high I can swing. But Grandma says that once I'm tucked in, I have to stay in bed until morning. I close my eyes and try to fall asleep. That's what self-control looks like to me. Maybe God is like that too. I saw God over and over again today whenever I saw love, joy, and peace, and wherever there was patience, kindness, and goodness. When I saw faithfulness, gentleness, and self-control, I saw God's Spirit at work. I don't see God the way I see my friends, or the streetlights, or the river, but I see signs of God's Spirit all around me, right here in the city. I know what God is like. Maybe I can be like that too. The end. I hope you enjoyed that story. I have one more nugget of wisdom to share with you. This is something that it's just a quote that I've kept around for a long time. It goes like this: you are a child of the universe, no less than the trees and the stars. You have a right to be here, and whether or not it is clear to you, as it should, whether or not it is clear to you, no doubt the universe is unfolding as it is, as it should. Therefore, be at peace with God and whatever you conceive God to be, and whatever your labors and aspirations and the noisy confusion of life, keep peace in your soul. Be gentle with yourself. I had to share that with you. I hope that it makes a little bit of sense and maybe brings a smile to your face. Lastly, we have an activity. So I would like to invite you to draw what God's Spirit looks like to you. This could be something representing love, patience, kindness, peace, any of the qualities we talked about today. So I hope you enjoy this activity, and I hope it brings you comfort. And I want to thank you for watching.